In this video, we look at the primary and secondary sources used to research Aaron Burr. Professor Burr spends the early section of his lecture notes describing what he saw as the destruction of research and fact-based history. He argued that the primary reason for the vilification of Aaron Burr was the lack of historical truth-seeking and historians who base history on old and biased sources. He points out that Vaughan Brody's Thomas Jefferson in Intimate History falls victim to this poor sourcing.
It appears that there are far too many writers of history who've depended entirely on questionable primary and secondary sources of information when it concerns the place of Aaron Burr in American history. They aren't even secondary, much less primary.
Unfortunately, according to Dr. Burr, for historians researching Aaron Burr's story, the tragedy of Aaron Burr's continuing heartbreak has left the world without a great deal of these primary sources. On July 1, 1813, after Aaron Burr returned from Europe from exile, his daughter Theodosia Alston was on a ship named the Patriot that was sailing for North Carolina. It was either ravaged by a hurricane or attacked by pirates. She was on her way to see her father, who she had not seen in years. Within that year, Burr had lost Theodosia, his grandson, to sickness and his personal papers. Burr's letters can never be used to answer the centuries of attacks. Samuel Burr cautions us against using suspected secondary sources as well, because for centuries Burr has been the target of detractors. As was said in Aaron Sorkin's The Social Network, every creation myth needs a devil. Dr. Burr reminds us that historians, in their need to deify Washington, Hamilton, Jefferson, Madison, and the others, also needed a foil to make them seem more godlike and perfect. Aaron Burr's undesirable choices had to stand in total contrast to their pure ethical and divinely inspired character. Dr. Burr points out that this is not to say that Aaron Burr was perfect, far from it. He made mistakes like everyone else, but his mistakes are magnified and multiplied way beyond proportions, while his good qualities are barely discussed. Check out the comments for recommended secondary sources. Lastly, Dr. Burr tells us,
to gain a new understanding and appreciation of Aaron Burr's connection with his rightful place in American history, it is absolutely essential for those interested in the subject or students of the discipline to approach the subject matter without prior prejudice and with an open mind. They must be ready and willing to brush aside all the falsehoods, half-truths, innuendos, slurs, and smears which some writers have fastened upon the character and reputation of Aaron Burr. For with such an objective approach to history, it will soon become apparent that, contrary to what has been written about him, Aaron Burr certainly deserves a place of honor among the founding fathers and political leaders of the United States during the turbulent early years of its history.
So for those who come to these videos, we ask that you please come with an open mind.